Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising. Today is a new day to start again. It is 5/6/2025. I didn't even realize it was Cinco de Mayo yesterday. I saw no reference to it at all, actually. I broke out my old cup. I was back in the back of my stuff. I kind of like this cup. I was a big fan of R2D2 and C3PO. Plus, it's not as big as my other cup. So yesterday I mowed 2 lawns and I did 2 yoga sessions. It was a very nice day, nice peaceful day. I felt like I was lazy. I did sleep a lot too. I also somehow did my dishes and got my laundry done. It's very strange how I've been like walking about, but then doing things as I go, where before I was just walking by stuff. Now I'm walking by stuff and doing a couple things as I go. That seems to be making a big impact on having everything back. You can get very anal about it. I think that's where that ADHD comes from. And maybe where I guess more the obsessive compulsive disorder. There's all these names and labels for these disorders, which actually have a lot of similarities. Anyways, that's what we got the experts for. I'm still very lonely. I keep like walking around almost hoping that I'm going to walk into somebody, but I'm also keeping a good attitude and presenting myself well. I mean, I haven't seen myself in the mirror, and it's definitely a different person than it once was, for sure. My arms are getting bigger and stronger, and my shoulders are getting stronger, and my chest, which is all what I wanted to do. So be prepared for what you're going to have to deal with when you start looking stronger. I am a one-man band. I've been a one-man band pretty much really my whole life, honestly. I haven't really had anyone standing with me. I mean, I did for a stretch, but I don't want to get into all that. I just think in reality, I've been alone most of my life. I've started to make headway on my daily life. I don't think my voice is as strong enough to make any real impact. I listened to 230-somethings talk about Star Wars last night. I'm wearing my Star Wars gear. I got my Star Wars, but I don't even like watching it anymore. But it's nostalgia. It's so funny. I kind of just do it because like it's a pun almost. But they were getting very passionate about it. And I'm just now thinking in my head, because somebody recently in a conversation did one of those plays where they were like, I was like you were at one time and now I'm evolved, so you'll get to where I am soon. They don't say it like that, but that's really what the illusion of the so I'm kind of thinking the same thing about these 2 guys that are going back and forth about Star Wars, because one guy initiated me first because I had a shirt on that said Star Wars, and yesterday was May the 4th. So and then I should have just went along with it and been polite, but I started to explain that it was more for me just I have a bunch of Star Wars shirts, and I do like Star Wars, but I have a lot of problems with it too. It's like it's the most popularized sci-fi movie that's involved in our culture, and I have a lot of issues with what was done with that. So when I talk to most people, there's no way I can talk my language. Watching them appear, but watching them go back and forth and appear intelligent is, I don't think most people can accept that they have been brainwashed. I don't think most people can accept that. Their ego, especially if their ego's big, the bigger your ego, the less likely it is that you're going to be able to accept that you've been duped, because you've built your life on it. And sometimes it's a pretty strong manifestation of physicality. You got 2 mansions and a yacht and all this other stuff that you've gotten from your hard work and labor, or whatever you've told your story to be. And it's really hard to realize that you were really just, if you want to put it in layman's terms, you were really just an instrument of the devil, even if you have a cross. If it's really, but I don't want to get into that because I really just lose my audience. I've lost my audience a lot with how deep I get into some of that. It's crazy how passionate. How to go from that to from Star Wars to that. But it is crazy how what I was amazed with was this one guy was with his girlfriend or wife or whatever it is, but she wasn't really involved. She was over on the side, and this guy's engaging with this other guy across from me, and they're explaining, and you could tell he was like playing the intellectual of it, like I've devoted myself into it, I've immersed myself into the genre, and I'm articulating what I found to be true about all of it, and like very passionate. And I'm just in there in my head thinking, like, what people used to say is, can you imagine if, so when I used to sell, everybody figured out that I could sell pretty well. And I heard people say, imagine if that man learned how to sell Jesus. So that's kind of what I'm alluding to here. But I'm thinking it in the same way with this guy that's like using all of his into this fantasy of Star Wars. And, you know, it's entertainment. I'm not being judgmental, and we should all put our intent into whatever we want to. But this is really intense times. And I think it's strange how people are able to escape. Anyways, I get passionate about following the way. That's what I've really gotten passionate about. I truly think it is the best way, and it requires discipline. When I speak, people don't hear me because I come off in a way that people don't understand really. When I work, people see me as, they do see me work though. I have found that if you put out effort and show and really genuinity, I think that's my own word there. I haven't looked it up yet. But anyways, if I'm doing that, I don't have to explain why. I lose people when I talk about the Bible, and I lose people when I talk about the Constitution. But that's part of why I'm doing this message, because those are the things that I think I think differently than everyone else, and I want to make sure people understand why. But no one wants to hear it from a guy like me. But I think it's necessary for it to be said. Should I try and get my viewers back? Has New Day ran its course? Probably. I am beginning to build momentum in my own life. I really am kind of getting to the idea that maybe we don't want to use these things at all. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing it for now until it goes and you can't do it anymore. Maybe that happens. I think if I keep on this momentum, this trajectory that I'm on, though, if I keep my mouth shut and I do my job, it's really only a matter of time. I think I could literally triple the volume of the store if I wanted, if I was given the opportunity to, even going at a slow pace. I mean, I think I could exponentially increase the volume of that operation if everything went in the right direction. And if it was even profitable. I don't even know that that's profitable, but the service could be provided where it's a cash and carry service. The facility is definitely there, and the ability to do it is there. But I'm not sure they even want that. So I'm going to stay in my lane and make small little moves, suggestions, and try to just do my best and try to just sell on the floor, which is what like I'm being asked to do. I am starving for fellowship. I've went and tried to find it in a couple different situations, and actually it's kind of like what I found about going to church was, when I went to church or I read the Bible, I literally, every time I did it, would get more skeptical and further away from faith because of the way my mind worked. So what I found was, outside of those two things, following the way and feeling what life is like whenever you are disciplined and you are doing what the ancients say to do, is a much better way and representation of the goal of life than it is in the book. So my main goal, I think that I don't think I'm the only one. that could find some solace. Because what I've found is the people that actually are holding on to this book so hard are not actually doing what the book says. It's a escape. I'm equating it to the Star Wars things because I hear people passionately talk about the Bible and passages of these words that they're arguing about a sentence that's actually misunderstood in the first place by both parties. And so you watch people do it sometimes and you're just like, and they're experts at it because they're so versed in it. And that's built their ego up. So what I'm trying to do is explain that to people, but they're so invested in it. When you get across somebody that's very biblically knowledgeable, that's why the question is, have you read it from front to back? I'd like to get a group of people together and I want to see 100 people in a room that can sit there and tell me with integrity that I read the Holy Bible, depending on which one it is. I want the biggest one from front to back. I want to get a group of people together and I want to see how many that is. And I just want to talk to them and see what they gained from that, because that's that question that you get. That's another thing that I learned through conspiracy theories when you get into very obscure ones, is that you start to really get honed in on verbiage, language. I think part of the programming, it shows I call them critical errors, or like whenever the word just doesn't line up right, and it's because it's a category error. And I think it's really interesting, and you see that a lot when you get into very obscure beliefs, because I don't know why. That's what I found. I guess it's okay. I don't need confirmation. I get confirmation daily. Part of what I'm preaching about the way is you don't have to go to church. You can see it by watching a squirrel run up a tree. I have everything I need. And you say thank you, the gratitude of being able to. It's very easy to focus on the negative things that you probably did to yourself. And that's the really hard one, is especially when there's really difficult things that have been done to us, to really center in the core of it was a self thing, even though we didn't deserve it was a self thing in the end. Not always, but most of the time. I get mad at others when they treat me in an underhanded way. It really bothers me. It insults me. And I don't like when people reveal themselves to me either. When I gain something from an interaction with a person that lets me know that this person cares nothing about me. I don't like that. That makes me bothered that now I'm operating with somebody that is operating in that way. I think my best trait is my ability to roll with the punches. Over the years, I've leaned on this skill and have found it to be the most successful way. If you fight, someone loses. If you agree, everyone wins. So if you can get everyone to agree with you, that's a great feat. It's like the 12 Angry Men. I am totally the 12th. I'm the one that says, nope. I'm totally that guy. I don't know who it was in that movie or that book, but I think I'm pretty much that archetype. Always I'm going to be. You're going to have to win me over if we're really going to do this. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be that guy. If you agree, everyone wins. But if I convince all of you, then we all win. If you don't agree, you lose. So there is really no winner or loser. And that's what I tried to convey yesterday that got me into trouble, was I said that there is no rule that is needed. Like natural law. I never got to that point, but natural law and God's law, whatever you want to call it, universal law, the law of consequence is there, and it will happen regardless of what we do when we put labels or money or whatever you want to call debt on top of it. Natural law takes care of it. And somebody was trying, and so when you make rules, it's a man making a rule in paper or on stone or whatever you're doing. There's a positive and a negative whenever you make a rule. And it doesn't matter what rule. There is no good rule, because it should just be a fluid thing. When you make a rule, you're putting a post in the ground, but that doesn't, it's just a post. I think I lost everybody with that, but what I'm trying to, so, and then somebody fired back with a very, it's the same stuff that happens in every type of situation, and you just learn how to deal with it the best you can. It's funny though how I didn't see that one coming. I can't explain it because it was too personal, but I've had awful moments when I compounded the problem sometimes. And I actually kind of did that yesterday. I had an opportunity where I should have kept my mouth shut. And instead, I interjected. And I don't think it was a positive outcome. Net negative all the way around for David. Just voicing my opinion because I was trying to hold up that 12th. No, actually, no. I'm about 7 steps away from being in the best position of my life. That's true. I mean, it's inevitable. So I figure this time next year, I'll have a different vantage point. And I have faith that as I continue making these small, diligent moves, routines, I'm setting up these routines and rituals. And I'm kind of holding myself accountable. I'm being disciplined. I'm practicing patience. Practice everything, actually. Practice breathing. Don't forget the most important one, breathing. Drink water. Practice drinking water. I learned about 4 corners of my feet, of my foot. I'd never heard that before. I heard that yesterday. You raise your toes up in the air and you let your body balance on just the foot part of your foot, I think is what you would say. And there's like 4 corners that you start to feel that naturally form, and that helps you with your balance. But you got to spend time doing that so that it levels out. It naturally levels. We naturally level ourselves. Isn't it funny how it comes down to leveling? I love language. I learned. So where are we at? So now I'm already gonna balance better than I tripled my ability to balance in one little thing that I just learned. It's just so much to build off of. It's a lot easier to build off of 4 corners than it is off of one little spot or off of like a thing. Now I have something I can focus on. There's 4 corners there. All right, get those square. It's a big deal. Just saying. But it's hard to find that stuff because your body, you don't spend much time with your feet. Like I just thought of my foot as a foot. It's just a foot. I put a shoe on it when I walk outside, but it's probably one of the most important. It's the first thing that touches the ground, unless you're walking on your hands, which you can do too. It's actually helpful to do that. So anyways, you just find your center, find balance. If you want to call, okay, so this is where I got a little bit. If you want to call him the Lord, you can. If you want to claim he's speaking to you, you can. I would say that line of the Lord works in mysterious ways, that is for sure. There is no one on this earth that is more dedicated to a cause than I am to New Day to start. I really, truly believe the power that found in New Day to start could change our earth, our society, our lives. I think there's tribalism that can be found in it. I think there's just a way. I think Tao Te Ching is the way, or the way, not Tao Te Ching, but the way that can be found woo-wee in basically everything is how we can collectively become what we were meant to be, which is, I think, the medium between earth and the heavens. We are the medium. We are the expression of it. And so it's just very important for every one of us to realize that we're playing a role regardless. And I think that you just are going to gain more. You just learn by discipline that if you just do the things that all of these ancient things teach you to do, which is difficult. One thing I talked to about somebody yesterday, I thought I was going to make this short, but I kept saying, so we kept talking about it. And I think we were talking about the same thing and about following the way, and that it's simple, it's easy. All you have to do is do the right thing in every moment. It's really pretty easy to do, but it's like the most impossible thing to do because you have so many other things that are pulling you in different directions. But then again, it's really, if you dedicate yourself to it, and that's what that pure faith is, then it's not that hard at all. That is why some people get to the point where they just sit all day long and do nothing, because they are content with the fact that it doesn't really matter what they do. It's beautiful. And just be there and harmonious and part of it. That's really what we are to do. But we can go out and run around and have fun. The problem is we have debt to pay. So I think what happens is once you get to the point of enlightenment where you feel like you've absolved your debt, then you don't have to go any further. You're just right there and you're just like, let's just hum this out. That's why they're walking around. Nobody having sex or nothing, because they don't want to mess it up. Because they found enlightenment. They found peace in heaven on earth, which is contentment. And it removes all stress, regardless of what's happening. And so that's where, I don't know that that's where I really want to be. That's why I start over every day and try again to see if it's the same thing that was happening yesterday. Because sometimes you wake up and you go outside and it sounds a little different, like the birds are chirping, and then you hear somebody say something and you're like, well, I haven't heard that in a long time. And then you hear it on the radio. It's just very strange how the synchronicities of life work. And so right now we're in this really amazing time. So part of why I like doing this New Day to Start is that I'm documenting it for anybody that wanted to watch this later down the line, because it's kind of neat, and it is what it is. And I think that there is truly potential, like a year from now, I could be having to really walk a different way just because of the way I've been I can't, if I keep doing the routines that I'm doing, I'm going to be really strong. And that's going to be interesting, because I've never really been really strong before. I've always been kind of weak. So now when people press up against me, I'm just going to be like, I tell you what, I've been doing a lot of stuff. Have you been doing a lot of stuff? Because I've been doing a lot of stuff. And I don't know, that makes a big difference on how you walk. I think it's important. That's why I always wanted to get my daughters into martial arts, because I thought it would be important for them to know how to physically take care of themselves. And it just adds a confidence to you that is helpful in how you're trying to operate in life. You should be accountable for how you walk and how you move. So that's what I'm trying to do. And this is a pep talk for myself, because nobody else watches these things. You got 24 minutes. Why would you? All right. So New Day to Start. I've got the day off, but I have a lot to do. I'm going to work on doing my own practice in my own room with my own mantle in my own intent, and start doing some yoga poses on my own today. And I might even hit a couple golf shots and do my other routines that I was doing. I've been doing the 5 push-ups and the 5 sit-ups I've been talking about. That's helping. I tell you what, what I want is it to be much stronger here. I still got, the belly's pretty much done. My legs are, I had these scrawny chicken legs. I wouldn't even wear shorts because I was so unconfident. And now they're still pretty skinny, but they are, my feet and my ankles are way stronger than they were. My knees are getting much stronger than they were. And my flexibility is just really way better. I'm kind of excited about hitting the golf ball, but I want to get further along in my yoga practice before I start bringing golf into it, because I really want to enjoy being able to get up and down and move through the yoga poses in a fluid way. And that's probably another 3 or 4 weeks away. That'll also give me a little bit more time to strengthen my left, because that's going to be pretty important when I start doing golf shots. But I could start just doing little swings. I'm putting it off because I know that I get the bug. If I get the golf bug, I'm going to be like those Star Wars guys. I'm going to be like in golf and maybe I'm not supposed to be doing that. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm letting everything kind of come to me as I stretch my knee. That's the other thing, is you start doing this kind of stuff and you can't stop yourself. I like to be sitting there and I'll say, well, that's a good time to work on my foot. I think I have everything I want right now out of this. So everybody have a great day out there. Do great, be grateful. Have an awesome day.